All right, in this video, I'm going to cover why men cheat on their wives. And this might apply to women cheating on their husbands as well. There are some gender differences according to some of the research. So you're going to want to stay tuned for the main reasons why men cheat on their wives. And I'm going to share something that I've seen in my own practice over 20-something years that no one is talking about, which I think is quite fascinating. And knowing this one thing will help you understand like if you're at risk or not. Okay, so let's get into it. First of all, a recent study by the Journal of Sex and Marital Therapy reviewed 495 people that have been in affairs. And they said there's 8 key reasons why people cheat. Okay, here we are. I'm going to list them. Anger, low self-esteem, lack of love, low commitment, need for variety, neglect, sexual desire, and circumstance. Well, what do these things mean? Well, let's unpack a few of them, okay? First of all, I have a different experience, okay? Yes, all of these can be valid reasons why someone would have an affair outside of their marriage. However, and I've worked with a lot of affairs over the years, and I've noticed there's always one common theme. And that common theme is this. People don't know how to work through conflict and repair and get back to a good place. When couples continue to not learn this, it creates anger, resentment, low self-esteem, a need for variety, looking elsewhere, feeling like my problems would be easier over there than right here. So I think the single biggest factor people cheat is because they are incompetent and don't know how to work through conflict with their spouse. And working through conflict and working through the conflict repair cycle, which I teach a lot about on this channel, is the essential, probably most important skill any married couple needs to figure out. If you can't communicate through stress, through financial stress, through sexual stress, through raising kids stress, you're doomed. You've got to learn how to communicate through the tough times and repair, become a better listener, validate their feelings, feel understood, have them feel understood, become a stronger team. And when you don't do that, you're putting your entire marriage at risk for an affair. Okay, someone is going to act out, whether it's the man or the woman or the man in a homosexual relationship, doesn't matter. Someone is going to act out if you don't figure this out. Okay, so let's talk about a few of these other ones. Sexual desire. Is that really a common reason people have affairs? I would say it's not the lack or the disharmony or the sexual desire changes over time. It's that the couple doesn't know how to talk about that. That's a conflictual, hard conversation that's like, ooh, how do we bring this up without hurting each other's feelings? That's the primary issue. Secondary issue, of course, is, yeah, I'm losing interest in you because you're a pain in the ass, because you're difficult. You blame me all the time. So I, of course, am going to shut my body down to you and maybe look elsewhere. Okay, another one, a need for variety. Is that really a thing? I think that's a dodge. I think long-term partnership is an incredibly amazing deep dive with one person into an intimate, multi-decade experience. And couples that know how to do the conflict repair cycle can get to that level of joy and fulfillment long-term. Variety is, again, I think a surface level excuse, especially that men use. Well, I need different body types. I need different sexual experiences. If that's true, you shouldn't get married in the first place. You should be in a polyamorous or an open relationship where that is actually okay to have variety. You can be in relationships where that's okay. Go listen to my episode on polyamory versus monogamy. Lack of love. Now, remember, people mistake love for infatuation. They also mistake love for attachment. When you partner with someone after the honeymoon stage, it feels like love wears off. It doesn't. Love is a practice. Okay, it's a verb and a noun, and you need to consistently learn how to love the person as they become more difficult over time. And as you become more difficult over time, your partner needs to learn how to love you. The attachment bond that you create, the dependency that you create on each other, which is normal and okay in a long-term relationship, activates all of our own and old baggage from our childhood. And it comes out into marriage to be healed. And if you're a no to that, yeah, you're going to have a really hard time being married and you're going to fall out of love. But there's no such thing as falling out of love. There's only you and your ineptitude around learning how to love someone in a much, much bigger way. Okay? Anger. Well, again, anger is usually born out of some kind of resentment or unmet expectations.
You want a piece of this, Pops? Come and get it!
If I expect you to repair conflict with me and you won't learn how, that expectation's mine and I'm going to be angry at you and resentful at you, right? You're going to feel judged and criticized by me, and now we're in this kind of conflictual relationship where we're going to drift apart. Much better is to have a better view of partnership that says relationships are a long-term path to becoming who we are, to personal development. It's difficult. I'm a hell yes to the suck. Let's do this. Let's learn how to have an awesome friendship and partnership and sexual relationship long-term over time. But let's learn how to do that. Notice the key word, it was learn. It wasn't, it's just going to happen somehow if I meet the right person. Okay, that's a fantasy. Neglect. Do partners neglect each other? Absolutely. This is a big one that I probably agree with more, which is what men tend to neglect is a woman's heart and feelings, right? What a woman tends to neglect in a man is his need for less criticism and more praise and acknowledgement for the things he does right and the things he does well. Because a lot of men are running around feeling criticized and judged by their female partners, and that has them shut down to their female partner. They don't feel like they're ever good enough, right? And a woman needs attention on her feelings, her emotions, and her inner life. I think both people need that. I need that personally. I'm not a woman, but I definitely want my wife to understand, embrace, and be curious about my inner life. When two people are curious about each other's emotional life, inner life, what's really going on inside, hopes, dreams, fears, I think that leads to a really magical partnership over time. And unfortunately, again, people don't know how to do that. They lose their curiosity when things get hard. They start putting their partner in a box, judging them, criticizing them, and then contracting and kind of pulling away from them, which is neglect, right? When you neglect your partner, don't expect them to open up to you, and do expect them to start looking elsewhere, unconsciously or consciously. That's a problem. So neither partner should neglect each other. There should always be practice and presence on, hey, how are we doing? How's our relationship? A weekly date where it's like, how are we? Like a relationship check-in. Are we okay? And if we're not, what do we need to do to get help, to get better, to get stronger as a team? Okay, hopefully this has been helpful. Now, a few other things here. Apparently, up to 40% of married couples experience some kind of infidelity. What? That's a very high number, all right? And if we think of 50% of marriages end in divorce, does that mean that infidelity is one of the causes of divorce? Of course, but really, is it that high? I didn't think it was that high. I'm pretty surprised. That statistic looks like it's from a legitimate place, but feel free to Google that. And the last thing I want to say that I've noticed with every single affair I've worked with, and every time I've talked to a friend who's had an affair or has been cheated on or whatever, over 20 years now, every single one, there was a family history of either a parent or a grandparent who had an affair, was cheated on in some way, shape, or form, which is really interesting, I think. So here's a key question to ask yourself. Did my parents have an affair? If you've been on the receiving end of being cheated on or had an affair, did my parents have an affair? Did anyone cheat on anyone in my family growing up? Did that occur? And according to my, anecdotal research here, yes, that's likely going to be the case, but who knows? I'd love to hear your comment below, though, if that's not the case or if it is the case. Okay, hopefully this has been helpful. Remember, the best and most important thing you've got to learn is the conflict repair cycle. I have many videos on that here on my YouTube channel, because that is going to prevent all this other bullshit from coming into your marriage and creating huge, huge problems. And affairs hurt. Betrayal hurts. It sucks to go through that. And usually the most painful thing is not the sexual experience itself. It's the fact that you or your partner withheld it and lied about it. That crushes more. That lack of trust, right? It really is devastating for people. So Please don't be one of those couples. If you're even remotely considering an affair, do something different right now. Start to be upfront, communicate that you're having challenges in your marriage, get help here, watch more of my videos, hire one of our coaches, and take action, okay? Don't let this happen to you. And again, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you about what your experience is with affairs and cheating. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you in the next video.